Hi, everyone. Welcome to another amazing topic of conversation. Thank you for joining, and I want to thank my sponsors, the Health Channel. So please, anything that has to do with your health, sign up for their newsletter. And if you need an office, Alexa's Workspace can help you regardless of if you need an office for 1 hour, a virtual, or just a boardroom. She can help you. Alexa's Workspaces. So, Isabella, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Um, Isa also does events. We have been in the event business for a long time, and we wanted to do this conversation to bring some of the event trends that actually I've seen happening in this year, especially. Like the end of 2023 and the beginning of 2024.
Yes.
So tell me, what's the first thing that you have seen that we haven't seen before? Like it's something new.
I think one of the biggest things that I've noticed, and it's going to different events myself and also planning and producing different events, is the number of RSVPs. A lot of people will RSVP to events, and then the number of attendance that you have coming in is much lower than what's expected. So before in our industry, you would say probably about 75 to 85% of the people that RSVP'd will show up, or people that have
Correct.
tickets will show up. I think now, from the numbers that I've done in the past, I'm getting between 60 to 75, which is much lower. So when you're putting in your food orders, or if you're putting in, your seat number orders, maybe it won't be food orders, you're spending all this extra money for people that are not attending, and there's no balance anymore to say, oh, I know that only this number is coming, or I work on the high end. You can't anymore. So the RSVPs is really important, and people don't realize that.
No, they don't realize that. They just think, I feel that they're RSVPing because there's too many events right now. And like we were
Yep.
talking offline,
Yeah.
they don't want to miss anything. So I think they
No.
RSVP to everything. And then they decide, okay,
Yep.
this one is better than the other one, so it doesn't matter.
Or
But
today it's raining, so I'll go this way instead of that way. Yeah.
are you seeing the same in paid events that in non-paid events?
Not as much. In paid events, you will normally get a higher attendance rate because obviously that's coming out of the person's pocket,
Correct.
but it's still not close to where it used to be. And I think from that, not only is there so many events happening at the same time, there's all these different factors leaning in, whether now if someone gets sick, they might be a little more concerned versus before. Or if they had a meeting late, oh, I'd rather go home because work-life balance is a big thing going on now. So if I work till 6 o'clock, the event was at 7. Some people say, oh, I'd rather go home, spend time with my family. I know I paid for this, but I can go next time. It's all different factors that I see. It's never the
It's,
same thing.
but what I've seen through, uh, sorry, what I've seen
No
in
worries.
this year, the coming year, is that we're going back to Events 101, to like 20 years ago. I feel that we're starting again, like even before, go back even before COVID, go back even before the the gadgets that we have, like the cell
Yeah.
phones or the iPads or the whole
Mhm.
technology industry. I feel that we're going back, that people want to go back to events, and events are now coming back in the way they used to be.
And the more private matter, is that where
Not
you're
only in a
going to?
private matter, but like, for example, galas are coming back.
Yes.
And there was a time when people didn't want to go to any more galas. And they're coming back, and people still don't want to go. They complain.
Yeah.
They
Well,
complain.
there's a
And
lot. I mean, galas are a lot to people. You have to, buy a dress if you're if you're one that wears a dress, or you have to buy a tux, or you have to get the shoes and then the matching bag, and you have to get your hair done. It's very expensive. But on the flip side, as an event person, you know that galas is where you're gonna make the most money for a fundraiser or for your nonprofit. So I'd rather do one big gala than 10 events and put all the costs towards that gala. So it depends on the person too. If for me, I don't like going to galas, but I know I like hosting galas because that's gonna help me out in the long run.
But
It's
have you
different.
seen in the big galas that people are dressing down?
Yes, I have noticed this casual chic, and even in the
Yeah.
themes of the gala, a lot of times you'll see there's not an emphasis too much on a long gown as it used to be. Maybe it's a more cocktail style gala versus, that black long dress or a lot
Yeah,
more
the
colorful.
tuxedo. I haven't
Yeah,
seen
I
the
haven't at all. I've seen
tuxedo in a
even
while.
sneakers is a big thing. For men, they wear these nice jackets, like a sports jacket and maybe some darker jeans and sneakers,
And
like
then
of
sneakers.
fashionable sneakers. It's still nice, but it's not what a gala used to be where everyone was, prim and proper and on their best because the picture's going to be taken and posted somewhere. It's very different. Very, very different now, the galas.
I remember one time when I had an event, and I'm talking 15 years ago. The event was on e-commerce,
Okay.
and everybody used to go to the events with a jacket, the guys with a jacket, like very well dressed.
Mm-hmm.
And either they had a tie or just a shirt, a button-down shirt, but with a jacket.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember having this super out there speaker. He was the owner of a huge company, one of the first company, and it wasn't Amazon. No, it was one of the companies that started selling online.
Mm-hmm.
And the speaker came, he was dressed in a t-shirt, jeans. Okay, but not dressy jeans and very schleppy jeans and
Mm-hmm.
tennis shoes. And I looked at him from top to bottom and I go, really? He goes, well, if you don't like it, I can leave. And I was like, no, 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 no,
No,
no,
no, it's
no
fine.
problem. Like, really,
Cool.
no
We'll make it
problem.
work.
Yeah, no, I'll make it work. It doesn't matter, but it's staying in my mind. And then I go outside and I had all the people in registration. Um, if you've been to any of my events, like the girls have this scarf with the color
Mm-hmm.
of the logo, and if there's guys, they have the tie with the same color and everything. And I see that they're taking the ties off, and I go, okay, what's going on? And they said, look, the crowd is really younger. The speaker is extremely young. He was in his 20s.
Oh, wow.
Was in his 20s, and they were intimidated by the people that were dressed up. So they were trying more or less to blend in so that they would feel that they will make the people feel registering feel more
More.
comfortable. So completely we changed the wardrobe, bottom down shirt, no jacket.
Hmm.
For the women, we put like the scarf on one shoulder and not like trying to
Yeah.
blend in. But that was like a breaking point of
Yeah.
when I saw in dress code and when I saw that the people literally didn't care about how they looked. And now I've seen it more and more.
But to that point, one thing I've noticed is yes, people are dressing down, but now there are certain venues that are asking that your vendors and their staff are dressed at a certain way. So maybe where before it could have been easier to tell your staff, hey, look, take off the tie. There's some venues that have me sign saying that my vendors are coming in all black. They're wearing a jacket, or if there's no jacket necessary, they're wearing a tie. It's very
Oh,
interesting to see how the venues are turning around
but I have
now.
my vendors always coming up. very
Oh, yeah,
well
of
dressed,
course.
but not with a tie now. Like
Mhm.
tie doesn't really fit the
No,
profile.
but bow ties are in. Bow ties are coming back, which I think is cute.
The other part was that you used to see these women all in suits and with very high heels.
Hmm.
Now we're seeing a lot more in tennis shoes.
Or the kitten heels, very small heels. I've noticed a
Yes.
lot too. Yep.
So
It's a whole
actually,
different ballgame.
it's a whole different ballgame, not only in dress codes,
Hmm.
but in the way that people attend the events.
Yeah.
The other part that I've seen is that I know that we have inflation. I know that
Mm.
prices have gone up in food, but I feel that the venues have gone up so much that I feel that they want to make up all the years that we were closed in COVID in just 1 year.
Yeah.
Like venues that used to charge $5,000 now are at $20,000.
Oh, 100%. And when you used to be able to do a very, I wouldn't say basic, but a budget-friendly wedding at maybe 35, $45,000, it's easily $60,000 or more for that same style wedding with maybe 120 guests. It's crazy. I have friends going out of the country to do their weddings because
Correct.
it's
To
cheaper
do
than
weddings.
staying in South Florida.
The other part is that I remember that many hotels that when you negotiate an event, you used to be able, for example, to get the room rental waived.
Hmm.
It depends on how
Yep.
much food you
And
contracted or how big your event was. Now they don't even want to hear. They just
nope.
want the room rental and they don't care if even if you go somewhere else.
Hmm. Because and maybe they'll say, "Oh, I can bring it down a little bit," but it's nothing in comparison to what it was before. Before, if you hit a certain number, don't worry, the room rental doesn't exist. Now it still exists. Might not be as high, but it's still there, and it's hurting us on the back end trying to complete an
Yes,
event too.
but for example, I have gone back to certain venues that they didn't want to negotiate and we couldn't fit them in
Mhm.
the budget. And they don't even want to lower down. So they prefer to stay there in the same budget
Which to me, I haven't understood
and be
because,
empty.
yeah, it's for me, I'd rather lower the cost, have a full set of events because then I'm gonna make my money in the long run. Maybe not in one day, but over the month, I have six events versus only one event. You sometimes, yes, your staff's working a little bit more. I understand that costs have gone up, especially in labor. Labor is one of the biggest reasons that cost is
Yeah.
going up in the events industry. And we're all hurting, whether it be in photography and food and beverage and audio visual, labor's up, right? And I know the hotels feel it too, but this is the perfect opportunity to say, well, you work a little bit more, you build more contacts, you build more
Yep.
network, these events are coming to you.
But this is a venue. The
Yeah.
venue's already paid for. Like they can
It's
budget their
it's that, yeah.
costs. They can
Hmm.
budget their cost and lower it a little bit. So that's one of the parts that I've been very shocked. And
Oh,
the
I
other
I
part,
had
tell
a
me.
client emailed me today and they said, and I won't mention any of the hotels, but they listed three hotels that they reached out to and they said, I don't know that I want to do my event at a hotel. They've done their gala for 25 years at a hotel. And they're not doing it at a hotel anymore because the hotel won't budge on pricing. They said, so what can I do? What can you do to help me? What other venues can I go to? They're sourcing something completely different because they can't afford it. Because no
No,
one can. All
correct.
of our budgets are going down. There's no way. It's,
So the other part that really concerns me is I know that there has always been rotation in the hospitality industry,
Mhm.
but now I see it much more. Like, for example, it used to be that one person was at one hotel and they
Mhm.
stayed there for 1 or 2 years and then they went to another. But now it's like 3 months, 6 months, and you go back and no, she's no longer there, he's no longer there. And
Mhm.
like a rotation that I don't understand why.
You're saying staff wise why they're leaving?
Yeah.
I wish I had an answer because I was talking about this morning about a event coordinator that I've worked with for a couple years now. And in the last 6 months, she's been in three different places. I said,
Correct.
like,
Why?
you were with a company for so many years. Why are you moving? Oh, it's not enough pay. Oh, they don't give me remote working. Oh, it was always an excuse. And, sometimes, and in our industry, for sure, the longer you stay somewhere, the more you're building your book of business. It's what you want to do. You want to
Well,
keep
we
these
are all
contacts,
based on relationships.
of course. So moving around, how does that help you as an event coordinator? I told her, I was like, help yourself, stay somewhere, build off of that because yes, okay, you might not get exactly what you want right now, but in the future you will. You're gonna get there. But I haven't understood the trend of people moving around. I don't know if you've heard anything, but there's
Well,
not a
I
specific
have a
point.
theory.
Ooh, I want to
Okay.
hear it.
Because you're in my theory, so you don't fit
Oh,
you don't fit the theory of the
okay.
millenniums that want instant gratification.
Oh, yes.
So they don't want to put the time in to create long-term relationships. They're like,
Yep.
okay, we're here 3, 5 months, it doesn't work, then move.
It's funny. I grew up and I have an older set of parents compared to most people my age, and they always tell me my dad was in the same job in the same industry with the same company for 35 years. And that man has a book of business larger than anybody I know. His network is enormous and people adore him. And now he retired and he didn't want to go back. And then all of a sudden he wants to go back to work. And so he's consulting in the same industry, a different company. But his contacts come right back to him because he built over the
He
35
built
years these
a
wonderful
network.
relationships. So for me, I see that in my sisters, and the three of us have been with the companies that we've been for a good amount of years. It's continue building. Yes. Do I see a couple reasons why people want to change? Yes. But I think it's in my opinion, it's worth it to stay because it's going to continue growing me. Whether it's not exactly the
Instant.
instant gratification that people are looking for, but I'm getting there. And in the 3 years that I've been with this company, I'd love to stay longer because the gratification that has come from just 3 years has been beautiful. Where you have to wait for it a little bit. You something sometimes the biggest things happen from waiting, and it's the patience that a lot of people don't have
Correct.
anymore. Yeah.
The other part that I've been seeing is the lack of training in staff.
Hmm.
That
Yeah.
there has been a shortage in the event industry staff.
Yeah.
And so they hire the first person that comes, but they forget to to teach them, to
Yep.
train them on what they need to do. And I
Yeah.
didn't realize that it was all over when this year, one of my events, a lady came to me and said, "Oh, your staff is excellent. They told me that you always train them and teach them before an event."
Hmm.
And I said, thank you so much. Well, after, because I was shocked, like
Yeah.
this is supposed to be in every single event. He said,
Hmm.
no, people are now being very rude. Staff is not being trained. And so it does make a difference. So why are we lacking in service?
Because people don't want to spend the money. Sometimes you got to spend the money to make the money. And that's what I live by. You need to spend the time and the effort. Yes, you might close for a day, but if you're teaching your entire staff how to respect others, which they should know, but sometimes you need to teach a little bit. How to set a table properly, how to pick up. I've noticed I go to places and they pick up while
Oh,
I'm in the middle of a conversation. Oh my goodness. I look at them and I'm like, give it a second, hold on the table. When you see her hand come down, then you can pick up the plate. And it's things like that that you need to teach them because it's not taught in school. It's not taught in the industry.
no.
A lot of these people don't go through school for the industry. Our industry is
All right. Yeah.
it's open, right? Yeah. It's open and everyone knows. And if you take the time and yes, you might be closed for a day, so you lose a little bit of money, but if you take the time to teach them, they'll do it. But no one has time anymore because everyone is impatient and running 100 miles an hour to try to get things done. And that's not going to do it.
Instant
Not, it's not in
gratification.
today's, yeah.
Yeah.
That should be the title of this.
Instant gratification. But for
Yeah.
example, the other day, I had a training for a big event and I asked them like dress code. You need to wear black pants that are not leggings,
Mm.
bottom down shirt,
Yeah.
no if you have painted nails,
Nails.
all of them
Hmm.
painted but not chipped, and closed
Yep.
shoes. And based on many, many years of experience for the training, I asked them to come as they were going to be in the event.
What was
I
the
lit
percentage that showed up correctly?
I literally had to send back 10 people and told them not to come
My
back.
goodness. Oh my
So
goodness.
that was a lesson learned that based on the event, you really need to do like a dress rehearsal. And
Uh,
but it wasn't that hard.
no,
And you can literally go to Amazon and get a black shirt, bottom down shirt.
Ross, Nordstrom Rack, TJ
Correct.
Maxx, Marshalls,
We have
Macy's
every
has sales all the time.
single opportunity to get all
Hmm.
this and not. So I felt that it was like a dress rehearsal,
Yeah.
and you
I
shouldn't be
think that's
able to do it.
necessary though.
No, it is for a lot of
You
people.
shouldn't have to, but it's a good thing to have. Or even like with my events, with my volunteers especially, I send out staffing plans to all of my events for my coworkers and colleagues and the ones on our interns. And I'll say, date, time, place, where to park. I'll send a map and then I put a tire on there. I
They don't
have
read.
gone as far, no, I have gone as far as to send a PowerPoint as to what business is
Really?
and what business casual is. Because the number of people that show up dressed flip-flop, when you tell them business casual, they'll come in a suit and you say business and they come in jeans. And I'm like, reverse, go backwards. And our volunteers too, clean shoes. I've never had to put clean shoes somewhere,
Oh
but
no, I
you
put
have
it
to now.
very detailed because I
In
found out,
bold.
like for example, the other part was bottom down shirts and they opened the shirt up to here, up to
Mhm.
their belly button.
Well, that's
So
style. That's the style now, but not for work.
not for work and not for a
No.
serious event. So that's why I literally have the scarves that I
Yeah.
put them aside so that they don't get confused on how and why are they coming to the event.
Hmm. Yep. Something to identify them so they know they're here for this. This is your purpose. This is what you're serving for.
Any other event trends that you can see
Um,
that have
Last
changed?
minute. I know we talked about RSVPs, but going back to that, it's not even so much the percentage of RSVPs. A big thing that I've noticed is last minute RSVPs happening too, because of the number of events that are going on, at least in South Florida. And recently, every company wants to do an event for something, which don't get me wrong, for me, it's a great time. I love going to all these events. I love meeting new people, but they'll wait until a couple of days before. Oh, I didn't get invited to this party. I'll go to that one now, or I'll RSVP. Maybe they don't show
Correct.
up, but they are.
So,
I've noticed where like the week of, I'll get 400 RSVPs, and then the weeks prior was like 50, 25, 100
oh,
maybe.
I'm used to that because of the Latin culture.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
I remember one time doing an event in Colombia with the Disney Institute. And I
Mm-hmm.
used to have a weekly call with them starting 2 months prior the event.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember the first call, it was 2 months out, and they said, okay, how many do you have RSVP? And I go, zero. They freaked out. And okay, and then the week after, how many? And I go, zero. A month out, 4 weeks out, I kept on having zero. And they were freaking out. They were like, do you want to cancel the event? But there is a contract and the whole thing. And I said, no, no, no. This is part of the culture. So I
Yeah.
remember before the 4 week call, I asked a friend to RSVP so that at least I would.
One.
That was fun. And I knew that the week of the event will be full,
Oh my
but
goodness.
it's very cultural.
It is. It is. And there's
It
a
is.
big Latin culture and infusion right now in South Florida, and it has been for the last at least 5, 10 years. But I see
So,
it a lot.
and that part is getting to know the culture.
Yeah. But on the
Yeah.
flip side, yes,
Oh,
it's
yeah,
getting to
it's
know the
horrible.
culture, but it's hard. And the venues, they will tell you before it used to be 48 hours before,
Oh,
but now
yeah,
it's
3 days.
72.
Oh,
And I'm like,
now?
oh, oof.
And some of them is now they want a head count a week before.
Yep. And you can't give it because people are RSVPing the week
We,
before.
so bottom line, we're in a very juggling industry.
It makes it good for our brains. I
But we
like
need to
the
juggle every
tasks.
single day
Yes.
and put and like I like to call them, put the pieces together.
Yes.
So
Yes.
Isa, thank you. Enjoy the summer. I
Thank
know the
you.
summer for the event business is a little on the downside.
A little quiet.
That makes us able to catch up on the
Yeah.
rest of the things before season starts back up.
Yes. Yes.
So
Thank you for having
thank
me.
you and everyone. Until next week, and above all, stay safe.